decided today, or maybe I decided.
I think that's the way it worked out.
I decided and I asked Jim if he would set up the camera gear. The reason for this, as Effortless Attraction is about making a difference. So hopefully this podcast here, that we maybe can pass off some insights or knowledge if you're contemplating moving to another country, or maybe not even moving to another country, just doing something that you see as fearful or a big change in your life. Thanks very much, Jim. Did it take you long getting here today?
All the way from the kitchen out to the lounge. Yeah.
You know, it's been a year now since we purchased our house, and that's where we're at now. Casa de Rosa in Spain. Any regrets?
None.
Did I ever ask you that before? Have you had any regrets?
No, no, you haven't asked me, but there's no regrets. Like, look outside, blue sky. It's a hot one today, but even in the winter time, we've discovered here, getting up in the morning, open the doors, there's blue skies outside. It makes a huge difference. The sun's shining in the sky.
Well, I'm sitting here, and I'm sure my face will get shinier. Keep me right now if it gets too shiny.
We'll have to get
the fan.
Mm-hmm.
It's August, it's 2024, and it is warm. But we've been here back and forth from September, full-time move in March of 2024, and we're embracing the seasons. So we're in the hottest time of the year. Let's go back to, say last year. No, well, we had bought the house this time last year. But pre-buying a house in Spain, I know for ourselves, I was researching everything that was going on YouTube, what people thought of it, what the price of things were all about. And so maybe we can offer something today. Firstly, the decision, to take that decision, will move abroad.
Yeah, I think it's down to how sort of, you have to grasp it. And it's not, when you put it in perspective, we're only 3 hours away
from Ireland.
If you were to drive from where we lived in the north of Ireland down to Cork, it's going to take 4 or 5 hours. Now, okay, you have to go to an airport and you have to get there and all the rest, but only 3 hours away. We can leave here in the morning and be having afternoon tea back in Ireland the same day.
Yeah. But do you think were those things that came into our mind at the start? Because neither of us had lived away from home. You'd gone to university. I went to university. I was a home bird, as I'm sure that you also were. And is that where our mind went first of all, or was it? Was it excitement? I talked plenty about it. Imagine, and I think it was yourself that said it was yourself actually. Get on to the estate agent and let's book the flights.
Just do it. Yeah.
So I was all talk, you with the action.
I think a lot of people, they have a fear in them of doing something like this, and they sort of exaggerate all the possibilities of what can possibly go wrong. And I think we've been very fortunate as a couple that any decisions we've made have been made together, and we've been very much singing from the same hymn sheet all the time.
Yeah.
And we've had confidence in one another. The test was the first year or two living together, and that worked out okay.
Yeah.
So it's just a different location.
Yeah. Do you know what? It is about mindset, isn't it?
Completely.
And I could have watched A Place in the Sun from morning to night. And I loved it. And I was imagine going there and doing all of those things. But then, yes, I felt the fear when we rang the estate agent, let's go looking at a house.
Yeah, your heart fluttered, and mine was the same as well, because we really were doing it.
Yeah. So here's something that I possibly, for people that maybe are contemplating living abroad or moving to another house. So a lot of your estate agents will show up photographs and videos, and that's what attracted us to the estate agent that we went to, because you're a videographer. They done wonderful videos, and we fell in love with the video of a particular house.
That's right.
And the idea that we had of what we thought at the time that we wanted, when we got there in reality, it didn't feel right.
No. It was in a village with a pub at the end of the garden, and it wasn't. The video did a good job of making it look a lot better than what it was, and was much more enclosed. There was no privacy, and we realised then that we're country people, and we like our privacy. We like open spaces.
And in fairness to the lady, the estate agent, she said, "Come on, and I'll show you to another place." So in our mind, what we've built up, gosh, it'd be nice to be in a community and We didn't want to be secluded or isolated. And she had taken us in to another house, a different style of house, what they call a cortijo. And it was then we realised, hey, we're country people.
That's right.
It's the country we love. 5 minutes from a village, 10 minutes from the main town, 10 minutes from the motorway, and still have neighbours, but not be on the top of other. Privacy was a big thing. So that evolved. And I think for anyone listening, listen, where we live could be someone's biggest nightmare. You know, you're looking out at, we call them colinas, hills. The Spanish people laugh, they call them mountains. And, you know, we have neighbours beside us, but we drive about 6 minutes to the nearest shop, and it's 10 to 12 minutes to the town. For someone, that could be their worst nightmare because they want to be able to walk places.
I think where we lived back in Ireland, we were 3 or 4 minutes to the nearest shop. We were 10 or 12 minutes from the nearest town. We were 10 minutes from the motorway. In some ways, we've kind of duplicated it,
Yes.
but we just transferred it across to Spain.
That's right. So I can, and for us to live in an apartment, it would absolutely drive us crazy. I think if you are contemplating to move abroad or to move to another house, get a clear idea of what's important to you. I think what was important to both myself and Jim, for you it was the outside. You wanted somewhere to grow vegetables. You also thought, right, we need in the hot weather as well to create shelter.
Yeah.
We wanted to be some road where there was a water source. These things are very important, you know, when you research the country that you're planning on moving to. So we got what was, I think, what was important to us. And still only 30 minutes away from the coast, which is a lot closer to where it was in Ireland for us.
I think when people say about having sea views and being near the sea, one of the things that we've discovered here is that it's a bit like living back in Ireland as well. It sounds like we're duplicating everything here, but when you went to the seaside in Ireland, it was a day out to the seaside, and you enjoyed it. Here, we're actually living closer to the sea, to the Mediterranean.
And it feels like a holiday.
It feels like a holiday rather than being there all the time. And you're still getting back into the camp of the countryside here, where there's peace and quiet, and you can hear maybe in the background the cicadas.
Yeah.
So you have all the sounds of the countryside as well.
I know here in Spain, look, there's going to be different types of buildings for people. There's apartments, I don't know if they do condos or whatever they call them, modern builds. And what we have chosen, again, as we say to the Spanish, recuerda a mí de Irlanda. It reminds me of Ireland. We think about 50 odd years ago, the house that we live in has a half door. It has the kind of image, without the thatch roof, of a house in the west of Ireland. But then we have the added luxuries of having our own swimming pool and an outdoor lifestyle. So just feel and see what's important to you. Now, when people get an idea, I actually saw a question that somebody had written up on a forum today. Has anybody ever purchased a house on the strength of only photographs? And I thought we could...
We did it.
Yeah.
We did it.
But would you advise that? There has to be a reason. It's like, you just didn't go and buy a house because you've seen the photographs.
No, I think we've been back and forward several times. We knew the area we wanted to be in. We knew the type of houses that we would have liked. And I think we had a good feel, a good instinct for what we wanted. And it was pretty instantaneous. When you showed me the photographs first time round, that really looks like the place that we could feel comfortable in. And then
I trust in the estate agent though as well.
She walked around with her camera phone
Yeah.
to show us what it looked like live, and we had to make a decision that day.
And the thing is, in Spain, when you put an offer in on a house or property, for us, it may be the one price across the board, I'm not sure, but it's 3,000 euros that you pay down. That takes the house off the market. So we took that leap of faith. We trusted in these.
Non-refundable 3,000 euros.
Because we couldn't get out to the following week, and we knew there was people coming to view the property that week, so we thought, no, we're going to be in first here. And thankfully, we came and fell in love with the house, but we were prepared to take that leap of faith rather than him.
And we weren't the best hagglers in the world because we didn't even haggle. We knew what we wanted, and all we asked for was a few bits of furniture, outdoor furniture, and we just gave the full asking price for it.
When I watch those, A Place in the Sun, when it comes to them putting in an offer, I watch the TV and I say, oh, they'll offer 170, they'll offer. But we're both, I wouldn't insult people. Whatever people are looking for the house, that's what we just says. Look, we want it, so there's
Yeah.
that's what it is. So then there's a follow-on procedure. Then there's all the paperwork. And here's the thing: I don't know what country you're listening from, but if you're contemplating buying an Irish passport or an EU passport to make it hassle-free for yourself. So it is very easy for ourselves because we had Irish passports because of Brexit. If you hold a British passport, it's not so straightforward. And then there's all the paperwork and everything after that.
And there's something else too that you have to take into consideration. There's about a 7 or 8% tax on buying a new property in Spain. So whatever price you're giving for it, you've got to add 7% on. And what we've really done is said, right, okay, whatever the euro price is, realistically, that's what the sterling price is.
Yeah.
If you make allowances
including
for
the
that.
taxes
Yes,
and stuff.
including the taxes.
Our estate agent now, in fairness to them, and I'll give them a wee shout out, Boss Estate Agents in Work at Overa, they included all of the extras underneath. But if you watch the programme A Place in the Sun, and they'll say that their budget is 150,000, they'll say they have a bit of wiggle room. But I often wonder, do those people know you have to add another 7%, isn't it, did you say?
That's in this region. It varies in different parts of Spain.
Yeah, as tax on top of that. So yeah, that was that. But then overall pricing here, like we looked at the rates, but we're paying for our bin collection. Now our bin, it's not like the bin man comes to we're happy enough it's at the end of the lane here that we get to drop that off. But the rates are much, much cheaper here.
Yeah, I think the three things that you lump together are the rates, the bin collection, and your water. They're the main, and your electricity. But the rates on the water and the bin collection are literally less than 10% of what they are back in the UK. 10%. That's a huge saving. That overhead's very, very low.
Yeah.
You still have to insure your house. You still have to pay for your electricity. Electricity is about the same price as is back home.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. And you think, right, we have no tumble dryer. We don't really require it. But then also we have, when it's warm, we have to put on fans. So you're subsidising one with the other. Hospital care, that was another thing. See, these are important things to take into consideration. Look, it might be about schools. You may have kids that wants to go to school. You may be past the children age and think, well, hold on, what about hospital care? Thankfully we have not required it, but the feedback in general in this area from people?
Well, all the people that especially all the English people, Scots people who have moved over here have said that it's second to none. It's far superior in how quickly they deal with you and the quality of care than in Ireland or the UK. And that's the feedback we're getting from everywhere. And you're now you're self-employed, so that allows me to be on the health system as well as a part of their health system.
Yeah.
But it's fabulous. And we're very fortunate in the town nearby us is one of the best general hospitals in the whole of this province. Yeah. That's only about 15 minutes away.
So as far as working is concerned then too, coming here, well, because my work is all online and I'm registered as self-employed, then when you pay your taxes, you're also paying into the system. If you're coming here to retire, you do need private health insurance. Because you need to show that, it's not like there's an NHS, but you pay into the system. And thankfully we have not required it, but it's only down the bottom into our main town if we ever need it. What else? Food. There's so many things that are, I suppose, cheaper here food-wise. I mean, the butchers, I can get a whole lot in the butchers for very little.
Half the price of what you get back. The fuel cost for petrol, diesel is about the same.
Similar, yeah.
Drink is really cheap. A good
As
bottle
in alcohol.
A good bottle of red wine here is about €3-4. Even surprised the wee local supermarket shop down the road. I asked one time for a bottle of Jameson's whiskey, which was about 24 sterling back home. €16.50 for the same bottle here. An Irish whiskey in Spain.
Yeah.
But yeah, food is generally speaking cheaper.
Yeah. Cars are more expensive. If you're buying a vehicle out here now, it's more expensive. Another thing is that when you insure the car, you insure the car. And then anyone over 25 normally can drive the car, providing they have a full driving licence. Yeah. But, and listen, don't take these as all 100%. It's just what we've experienced that we're sharing with you
But
ourselves.
buildings insurance and car insurance are both cheaper than they are back in the UK as well.
Yeah. What else? Now, what way has your life, how do you feel that it has changed for the better here?
I think the big thing is peace, the pace of life. Um, Definitely the climate as well. Like in the wintertime, don't be under any illusions. It gets cold here. We're up in the hills. We're about what 3,000 feet altitude. It can go down to 1 or 2 degrees at night time in December, January, and February. But once the sun comes out during the day, it will still go up to 18, 19 degrees. But the one constant thing is sunshine and blue skies.
Yeah.
We do have rain, but it has a huge effect on your whole kind of um, feeling and sort of demeanour.
Yeah.
It brightens you up. And we open the door in the morning time here. You were saying about how it feels like this little house being back in Ireland. The one big difference is when you open that half door in the morning, there's blue skies and palm trees outside.
That's right.
And that makes a huge difference to how...
I remember one day, I think it was around Easter time here, and it rained. I loved the smell because it's amazing because it rains so much in Ireland.
Yeah.
But then when it rained here, I love that smell. So everything in moderation, because we do require also rain out here. Now, James, what about the language? What a lot of people are faltering. How important is it?
Well, you, my beloved, are wonderful.
Sure, no.
Yeah, no, well, I suppose you've been doing Spanish a few more years than me, but there's a fluency about yours. But even myself, one of the greatest things that's happened, especially over the last 2 or 3 months, is that we've befriended a few lovely local older Spanish people who live just down the road from us here. They haven't got a word of English. And that really forces you into listening carefully and trying your very best to put sentences together and rather than any of these learning apps, I think that's the way to do it. I think so many people that we've met here from the UK especially have been here maybe 15, 20 years, haven't a word of Spanish. And all they do is just associate with other people who speak the same language. I think one of the things we promised each other here was that we were going to learn the language.
Absolutely.
It's the least you should do.
I think, why would you move to Spain if you don't want to interact with Spanish people? I feel it's good manners. The height of good manners to at least knowledge. Plus, it opens up more of a circle of friends.
That's right.
Doesn't it?
I think one of the things that I love gardening, and coming here is a completely different way. The concept of growing here is different than Ireland. Ireland, your biggest issue is too much rain and a short growing season. Here, it's the water is the big thing, and they conserve their water here. So all the plants they put in, they think very carefully how they water them, how they propagate them. And then the other thing is, like we've got in the land here, almond trees, fig trees, pomegranate trees, lemons, oranges, and each has their growing season. And we're learning all the time. Even now we're picking the almonds. We're learning from our wee local Spanish friends how to... We didn't know we had to leave them out for 2 days to dry.
That's right.
We know now how to do that so that we can save them long term.
But isn't there something special about that, to be able to go out, pick fruit of your own tree, make orange juice, squeeze lemons, make almond milk. We've made figs, we've used our figs, we've used our loquats. I don't know, I think there's something humbling in that rather than taking it for granted or we'll go to the supermarket. For us anyway, look, everybody has different concepts of life, and if you go to the touristy spots, listen, it's probably you don't need to even speak the language. It depends what it is that suits you. If it's a country life in Spain or more rural life, and actually you'll find the more inland that you go, you'll get more property for your money.
Much better value once you leave the sea.
Yeah, but you will need to learn the language. Now, I'm not saying everyone speaks Spanish, of course, it's going to be English speaking people about, but for yourself, to learn to how to speak. A good solicitor, important too.
Hugely important. There, in Spain, we've been fortunate enough, although the first house we went to buy, it didn't go through because the land wasn't all registered in the name of the people, the poor couple.
And they were unaware of it.
Yeah,
they were unaware of it. But thankfully, our solicitor was able to.
Yeah, so our solicitor's on the ball. So with where we are now, it's all been sorted. But
it's being mindful of those things. It can be different here in Spain than other countries. It's just look at your plans, get a good solicitor, and do your wee bit of research. Do you ever when you watch the programme, that people say, is too expensive, or they bid for £1,000 they miss out on their property.
Which they
Maybe
could live in
now
for the rest of their life with the
exactly,
greatest of joy. Yeah.
exactly. I think we've all covered, have we? If we had watched this video a few years ago and whenever we were questioned, now I wonder have we covered everything?
No. Well, I think the one thing, and most days we do say it to each other, we kind of pinch ourselves and say, this is our life.
How blessed we are.
Yeah. Like I was out last night here, it was what, 12 o'clock, went for a swim in the pool, had a wee whiskey, and just sat outside listening to those little screech owls here, and there was cicadas right beside me. I looked up at the stars and I thought, this is amazing, this is heaven.
Yeah. And the thing too, we've had family. This has been a very busy house.
Of course.
But that's the thing that people are, if we move, what about my friends, what about my family? But if you take that, it's only 3 hours on a flight. Yes, you have to be at an airport this way or that way. And I think for us being here, we get quality time with family.
I think that's been one of the greatest joys we've had here is when family has come over. They've been here, and it's not just a flying visit for an hour and going away. They've been here, in some cases, for up to 2 weeks. And it's been some of the nicest experience we've had this year. And it's a lovely thing for us to bring them to places that we find as well.
Yeah.
And you're giving them a lovely, secure, safe base to work from too.
Yeah. Yeah, to come and experience a different Spain.
Yeah, yeah.
Because when Erin Rose is over here, she says it doesn't feel like a holiday, it feels like a home, and that's all that we could ever ask. And I think, look, anyone that's ever come to our house whenever we did live in Ireland, and here, they do get that homely feel.
And the big thing for us too is that this is home.
Yeah.
This feels like home. Yes, we go back to Ireland now for our holidays or for work, but this is home. We're still Irish, but this is home.
Well, this is it. I have the banjo out, the tin whistle. We had a music session here one night with the wee Spanish people down, and yeah, you can still do the same things. We have RTE, TG4.
You played the banjo to La Bamba, and they all sang along. So it was multicultural.
So you know what? Life is what you make it. I would say if you're contemplating or thinking, you can put as many blocks in front of you. You can listen to other people's fears. And a wee thing that we maybe have discovered, and this is just ourselves, might not be for everyone else, people who are self-employed and people who are employed sometimes have a very different mindset. Myself and Jim have been self-employed, so we tend to think different. We've always, I suppose, in our own businesses, there was always the uncertainty, the unknown, the taking a chance when you work for yourself.
And I think that when you're self-employed, every day you're taking small risks, large risks. They're all calculated risks. So that whenever we decided to come here, it was just another calculated.
Yeah.
If you want to call it a risk, I would call it more of a challenge than anything else. But the people who were employed, and there were friends on both our sides, the employed people were saying, sucking them, are you sure you're doing the right thing? There's maybe a problem here, a problem there. Whereas the self-employed people who were friends of ours, or are friends of ours, saying, go for it. Great.
Yeah.
Great.
It's just a different mindset. You know, if you're used to a certain thing or safety, or it's, and when people say, you get one life, and why not? Why not? Because the wonderful thing also here, the Spanish couple that we have befriended, the gentleman, he's in his 70s now, he was reared here, and he was able to
in this house.
Yeah, he was reared in this house, and he's been here. He's took us round and showed us where, you know, they had it hard times, and he's so happy that we're here now. And when we played music that night, he said that's what they done years ago. They used to go from different house to different house, you know, to have their sessions or their ceilidhs. So it's nice to keep life and to keep love and to keep memories, because this too shall pass for us. Somebody else will come into it.
And it's linking us to the past history of this house as well.
Yeah.
One of the biggest things I find here is, I suppose, maybe I'm an Irishman, but I like to dig in the ground. And I think once you start becoming a part of the landscape and start maybe changing little things or growing trees or plants, you feel more a part of it. I know I do here anyway, and I feel as much home here as it is in Ireland because of it.
Yeah. Well, that's it. It is home, and I think anyone that comes here, And they get a holiday.
They're well looked after.
So that'll conclude us today. Jim, thanks very much for joining me on the sofa.
De nada.
By all means, if you know of any friends that would delight in watching the video or hearing this, might make a wee difference to their life, we could be the words of wisdom.
Maybe we're getting too smart for our own boots.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for your time today.